They have other scenes that happen where certain people have plastic surgery, and if you don't update yourself, you turn into a fucking abomination. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
We're here for a reason.
But now, my friends, I want to get to tonight's review. Now, this is not going to be like a regular spoiler review. This is going to be like kind of like what I did for Black Widow, what I did for F9 recently in the past, few weeks, where I just kind of go into my overall impressions of the movie. What I thought worked about it, what I thought didn't work about it, what I thought was kind of like, I was in between with, like, some aspects were great and other things kind of affected it, just overall. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with the film, first of all, I should ask you this. I want to ask you this, The movie just came out, I guess technically like last night. There were some late night screenings last night. And I should ask you, how many of you have seen M. Night Shyamalan's Old? I'm very curious, Chad. We'll do a spoiler section at the end. We'll do a spoiler section at the end of the review. I just wanted to because some people might want to see it. I don't want to spoil it right at the front. Chris Ayers, yeah, I saw it last night. It's so good to see it. I want to see Old right now. Amy Zerka, I haven't seen it. There's so many ads. There's a lot of ads to it. They're heavily marketing this movie. Sean Was, welcome. Hey, Juicy, did you see Master of the... I have not. I was thinking about doing a watch party for it. Not today, but maybe in the near future. I'm not into this movie's premise. Alex Bernal, I have not. Haven't seen it yet, but read the graphic novel. Same. I read the graphic novel, and I've seen the movie. I'm going to be playing some Sekiro tonight, so we'll stop by later. No problem, Gacy. Haven't seen any Shyamalan in a while. Totally understand. Enjoy Sekiro. Try to beat the Great White Ape. I could never beat him. He kicked my ass. Axel, I haven't seen it. Dark Slab, Nazi Man. I saw like 1,000 ads for it on the playoffs of the NBA. What happened? I kind of want to see it. I don't know. Maybe Black Widow again, to be honest. A Bad Boy the Shyamalan film I've ever seen is Glass. So there's really, oh, wow. The only one you've seen is Glass? That's interesting. So you didn't see Unbreakable. You didn't see Split beforehand. Interesting. I guess, probably know that other people have done the same thing. I just want to know if Shyamalan is still pulling the same old shit. I just finished Master of the Universe. You didn't like it, Sean Was? I've heard mixed things about Master of the Universe. I wanna watch for myself. I was not a He-Man fan growing up, so I watched the 2000 animated, which I actually really liked. But no one watched it, and it got canceled, sadly. I'll watch it sometime in the future. I know that's getting, it's reviewing positive critics, but, like, fans have been tearing it apart. But I want to give it a shot. I'll check it out myself. I'll give you my opinion later on, Chad. Maybe in the future. But in regards to Old, I just saw this film about 2 hours ago. I got out at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so it's very fresh in my mind, chat. I'll be honest. I don't know if I was looking forward to this movie. I think I think a lot of people have been disappointed with M. Night Shyamalan for the past 20 years. Like the last I'll say this, the last two M. Night Shyamalan films I thought were like really great. Well, I'm like, wow. Like these moved me. They had impactful endings. They had great performances. They had wonderful stories. Got so emotionally kind of cried. Like I cried a number of films that he did, and those two films being, The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, chat. The Sixth Sense being one of the few ghost poltergeist-esque films that I truly loved. I know that he did some other movies before The Sixth Sense, but that's what put him on the map for a lot of people was The Sixth Sense. All those Academy Award nominations, Chad. Excellent performances by Bruce Willis, Haley Joel Osment. That's what, really made Haley Joel Osment's career. A number of other actors featured in the film. Wonderful movie. Unbreakable. Ahead of its time. It was a deconstructionist superhero film. Again, great performance by. That's when Bruce Willis actually fucking cared. He kind of moved away from being like an action star, and he started delivering a lot of great dramatic roles. Damn, Bruce Willis, you can act your ass off. Then he just stopped caring again. But yeah, Bruce Willis nailed it. Obviously, Samuel Jackson so far, a number of other great, supporting performances. But then I think, Shyamalan, for a lot of people, he started to wane. He started to smell himself a little bit. Started to smell his old stink. He's like, that's some good Shyamalan. And he did Signs, which, again, commercially successful, but kind of mixed reviews. And then he did The Village, and then it was like, well, and then it was like, but then it started getting the old thing. Then he had that twist ending. That became part of his shtick. And then when we got to Lady in the Water, I think Lady in the Water, for a lot of people, that was when it's like, oh, all right. That's when people started to turn. Where it's like, we're not liking all this. And I think that's when he thought that, like, I can do no fucking wrong. I will literally write me in as the hero of my movie. And I will criticize. I'll make a character, a critic, who will die horrifically in the film, and I'm the hero of my movie. He started to get a big fucking ego, which a lot of filmmakers do, a lot of actors do. I mean, I get it. Sometimes you need an ego to do what you do, to be a creative. I understand that. But that's when I think he started to lose track. And then after Lady in the Water, we saw all these other films. Saw The Last Airbender, saw The Happening, all these movies, and it's just like, oofa. It became bad, chat. And he's kind of been... Some people really love Split. I was not one of those people. I thought it was fine. Glass, didn't care for it. Then he did The Visit, whatever. And now that brings us to Old most recently. And I have to admit, I was not looking forward to this film. I had already read the graphic novel, which is based on Sandcastles. He's doing an adaptation, which I was not a fan of. Didn't really particularly care for it, the story or the writing, even the artwork. But sometimes I can ignore the artwork. But I was like, all right. But I was like, hey, gonna go in, gonna give it a shot. Maybe he's got it. Maybe like a, like this kind of premise. It's a relatively small cast. It's a small movie. Maybe it'll be the film. It'll be the film that really brings him back. And the movie has some interesting things in it. It has some good moments, I will say. I think it has a talented cast of people. I will say that despite certain things in the film, and we'll get into what those things about don't work, but I think it has a good, despite the material, I think it has a good cast of actors. Gail Garcia Bernal, Vicky Krieps, Rufus Sewell, chat. Like these guys, despite the material and what they're given to say, you're with them in the movie. You're at least interested in them. You care about them. I will say that. Okay, despite the really awkward fucking dialogue. And at times, I think the cinematography, chat, like the faraway shots, the landscape shots, which, this whole movie takes place in a tropical environment, chat. It follows characters who are basically, vacationing, trying to get away from a stressful environment, trying to enjoy themselves, families, that kind of thing with young children, all that. And we see a lot of great shots of this tropical environment. Wherever, I don't know what location we're somewhere tropical. I know that, jungle themed. I was like, this looks good. Some of the other cinematography in the movie does not work, and I'll talk about just weird fucking editing, weird shots that make you kind of like nauseous. But I will say, like, when he moves the camera back and he's showcasing this environment, looks good. And despite this being like a very contained movie, you're pretty much on a beach, a single beach, for the grand majority of the film. I'd say for an hour 20 minutes, hour 20 minute plus. That's what works about the movie, I think. Outside of that, this is a rough film. It has some interesting ideas. It plays with some disturbing concepts. The whole idea is like these people are trapped on this beach and they're aging unnaturally fast. Like a single day is a lifetime. A half hour is several years. Boom, that's it. And it's like, that's interesting, but what they do with it ranges from being disturbing to being extremely funny. And it goes back and forth constantly that you're kind of left going, yeah, it just didn't have that impact on me. I know what you're trying to do is you're trying to be impactful, trying to be disturbing, but because there are so many ridiculous things going on at once, and we don't spend, and that's the thing that he does. It's like, it's a movie that's both terribly paced, but also it goes too fast at the same time, where they introduce something and it's horrifying, and then they like move away from it, like instantly. Because we got to keep going. We got to keep it going. And then there's a lot of. That's the other thing too. Like this is one of my biggest criticisms of Shyamalan for the past 15 years, really since Lady in the Water. I'll say Lady in the Water, chap. Because there's some dialogue in The Village I liked and Innocent Signs. I mean, there's some awkward stuff, but you really started noticing Lady in the Water, I think. Cause like, I think he forgot how to write humans. I really think he forgot how to write characters and how people talk to each other, because he definitely has that weird, awkward dialogue. It's not as bad as something like The Happening, where it's like, are you here to murder me in my sleep? What? No. It's not that bad, but still, it's not good. It's not good. It's very repetitive. You'll have characters who will literally say, hi, my name is Jared. I'm a nurse. By the way, my name is Jared. And it's like all in the same scene and sentence. Hi, my name is Jared. I'm a nurse. By the way, my name is Jared. People don't talk this way. People don't talk this way. And it's just like, what the fuck was it? And we just move on. And there's no time spent on it. Vanny Vanispheres, welcome to stream. 11 months, 1 month away from a full year of being a Thank you, good sir. I subbed to your channel as only a Manderville man can. Good to see you, Vanny. Talking about old right now. Talked about the good stuff already. Now I'm kind of in the bad stuff. Good stuff didn't last long. It didn't last very long. But we're in the bad. Hope you're doing well, good sir. Talking about me? No. Talking about M. Night Shyamalan. And the other thing about it, too, is kind of what I already hinted at, super exposition heavy, where you have all these characters on a beach, and they all say the same thing over and again. The beach is aging us. And they're like, 5 minutes go by. It's like, why is this beach aging us? Like, we already set up the idea that this beach is aging us unnaturally at a very fast rate. You don't have to keep reminding us. We know it's happening. But for whatever reason, it's like he wants to say, it's like the characters are saying they're literally looking at each other and saying what they're seeing. Like, we know what's happening. You don't have to say, like, she's aging. The thing is growing larger. It's growing even bigger. By the way, my name's Jared. I'm a nurse. My name's Jared, by the way. It's like, I don't need to hear that again. I understand it. And I think it's just his way of, he wants to make sure that the audience knows the characters' names, because he doesn't have enough time to really develop them as true characters. And so he thinks like, well, if I make sure that people know their names, they'll have more of a personal connection to these characters. And that's the only reason why I can think of why he's just emphasizing that people like, my name is so-and-so, and they repeat their names throughout the movies. It's like, or throughout the entire running time. It's like, it's not necessary. I don't give a shit. It's pointless. And again, just so exposition, they just repeat what's happening, what they're seeing over, and he's always done this. And I don't know why. Moving on from it, we have that awkward humor, like to the point where he has these characters where they're saying things that humans wouldn't say. All the children in the movie, like, we're introduced to the two children played by they're the son and daughter of Gail Garcia Bernal and Vicky Creeps. I forgot how to say her name. Creeps. And they're like both 11 and 6 years old. But the 11 and 6-year-old, especially the 6-year-old, is saying things that like no 6-year-old would say. His vocabulary, for whatever reason, is very advanced. And it's like, it just sounds awkward coming out of a child's mouth, like right off the bat. It's like, kids don't talk this way. And I don't know why. Maybe they're trying to establish like he's a savant. He's really smart. Or maybe he has mild autism. Like, I'm not sure. But it's just weird how he has kids speaking in this film, especially the character who later is played by Alex Wolff, who's the older version of the young son, the 6-year-old in the movie. It's just, again, it's that awkward dialogue, which he's always about. The cinematography in the movie, I said before that, like, the faraway shots are very beautiful. Like, he knows how to capture a landscape. I don't know who his cinematographer is this time. Does a better job. But when it comes to close-up shots or, like, medium shots, it's so fucking weird. Well, he'll have one person stand all the way at the edge of the camera, and the other person's kind of off camera, but you see, like, their nose. Like, this is all you see of them. Like, right there. And you're talking to a person who's, like, in shot, but it's like, why do you have it framed that way? Why don't you have both the two people, like, in the same frame, and you only see, like, their nose like that? It's very odd. I don't understand that. Dippy on this is the same guy who worked on Splitting Glass. He also shot It Follows and Us. Thank you for the 5 biddies. I don't know why he likes noses so much. I don't like this style of direction thing. The audience is full of idiots. Yeah. I think it's M. Night Shyamalan's like, I don't have enough time to personify these characters, and I want the audience to know their names because I think they're dumb because they're not remember. I mean, we don't remember their names. At the end of the day, we don't remember their names, but I don't think the names are important. You know, it's just, I think it's just his way of trying to make us care, but it just kind of, it comes off awkward to me. But again, the cinematography when it's up close, when it's just about people talking, very weird and unnatural. The makeup and prosthetics in the movie, it's like sometimes this is weird to me, where it feels this was an inexpensive movie. I don't think they had a lot of money to make this. This is filmed during the pandemic. They say it's a budget of $18 million. So relatively inexpensive. $18 million is a lot of dollars. $18 million is a lot of money to us, Jeff, but I just don't think they had enough to work with, where they're trying to showcase that these people are aging super fast and they're supposed to be like look really old. But honestly, like there are points in movies like, okay, you're a little bit older looking, but you're not like 100. You're not like 85 looking. You have more wrinkles and things, but the makeup doesn't showcase that. Like you have a little more gray in your hair, you have a few more wrinkles, and then you're dropping dead. It's like, nah. The makeup didn't convey the age very well, in my opinion. And of course, we have other scenes where people are just turning into. I can't say this. They have other scenes that happen where certain people have plastic surgery, and if you don't update yourself, you turn into a fucking abomination. And that to me was kind of like unintentionally funny. And certain scenes where they have like, I don't know. Again, this is spoiler territory, so I gotta be careful. But all I'll say is things happen very quickly. Like if you get an injury, it heals almost instantaneously. And certain characters injure themselves, and they intend it to be a very disturbing scene, but after a while becomes just so fucking comical because the actor has to play it up, and it becomes unintentionally funny, so it doesn't work. And again, the CGI in the movie is not great to me. And the makeup and the prosthetics and the CGI is, I think it's all over the place. It either ranges from like, nah, it's pretty good, to like, yeah, this ain't fucking working. This is coming off not scary at all. I'm actually giggling in the theater. I'm actually like, I'm in the audience. I was watching with a full theater chat. Every seat was taken in this theater I was watching at. I mean, everything's open in Texas now, and people were laughing. And it's like, yeah, I was laughing too, because it's kind of comedic. And the last bit, chat, the ending of the movie, like there is a twist, but it's a twist that we're kind of already figured out. Like it's a twist ending, but Shyamalan plays his hand super early. Like, okay, I can kind of guess what's going on. Like I kind of figured out because of certain things that you see. It's like, all right, well, clearly, you know, there's something happening here that people know what happens at this location. It's like, all right, you can kind of read into what's going on. It's not a big twist. And then there's a whole thing where you have characters and it's implied death, and it's like, well, no, they didn't die. They're here. It's like it's not a great twist ending. It's fine. It happened, and you're just like, all right, what happens next? I don't know. Like what happens, like what they kind of hint at the ending, like, okay, what happens after this is a more interesting movie, but we're not gonna see it. It's like, all right, just kind of, all right, there it is. The movie ends. Overall, Chad, it's not the worst thing he's done. It's not Lady in the Water territory. It's not Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's not The Happening. It's not as bad as those things, but it's still kind of just a hodgepodge of really weird ideas that don't really coalesce to something that I think is worth watching at theater. Like if you were to watch this on like a streaming service, you were to rent this, then I think you'd be okay. You know, I mean, I'd be like, it's worth the watch. But that way, but I would not go to a theater to watch this. You know, I think it fails in a number of regards. And then we can't even get to the the contradictions. Like the science the movie sets up, which is the science of the movie is inherently flawed, the idea of aging super fast. And there's certain things that it just ignores that it comes to aging. Like, don't worry about it. It just ignores. Like, okay, so you age really fast. You know, wounds you see in the movie close up instantaneously. Then why isn't people's hair growing? Why isn't people's fingernails growing exponentially? Like these things are just ignored, and you're just kind of like, yeah, don't worry about it. Don't think about it. When you start to think about the science of this movie, it doesn't make any sense. And even the explanation as to why what's happening on the beach is happening, it's like, that's not an explanation. It's just I don't know. It just is. And you're like, all right. Okay. And then the movie's over by then. Their clothes keeper. I will say this, the clothes thing. So I'll give M. Night this. The children grow older throughout the entire movie, and thankfully all the parents packed like apparently 25 pieces of clothing, and they put their kids in something larger as they grow bigger, as they continue to grow older, chat. So it's like they did think about that. They did think about that. And I was like, all right. And the costumes of the kids constantly changing. They're growing like every hour, you know. But yeah, overall, it's not the worst thing he's done, but it's nowhere near as entertaining as something like The Sixth Sense or Unbreakable or even Signs or The Village or The Visit or even Split. Like I think I'd rather watch Split again than this movie. I'm not a big fan of Split, but I think that movie's better. It's just kind of a waste of opportunity. But again, I don't think the source material is that good either. You know, it just didn't work out. Now, I want to get to, so overall, if I had to give this a rating, I don't know. I'd give it maybe like a low rental on the double toasted scale and the DT scale. It's not quite some old bullshit. Thankfully, again, like there's some beautiful cinematography, and the cast, despite the really awkward fucking dialogue they're given, they managed to raise the material above it. Like it's a Herculean task, chat. They're just like, constantly pushing against the bad direction and the clunky dialogue to like at least make me care. Like there are small scenes, especially between the husband and wife, Gilbert Garcia Bernal and the actress who plays his wife, that are like really good. They are good. Despite some clunky dialogue, there are some really nice intimate moments between them. It's like, okay, this is nice. I like this. Other times it just doesn't work out. Snake eyes are old. Neither. Neither. Thank you. Thank you, Kevlar Cola. Thank you so much, Kevlar Cola, for the follow. You, my new Huckleberry. Welcome to the stream. But now, Chad, I want to get into some of the. So you have the margarita to get to this meager film. Thank you. I did. That was good. That was a good margarita. It was a nice long margarita. It had salt on the thing. It was great. Really loved it. Now, Chad, I want to get into some spoiler discussion. So this is going to be a spoiler part right here. We're going to do a spoiler section, chat, because they introduced a few things that don't make any fucking sense. Or it's just like, wait, what happened? And we're not going to spend any time with that? Or is things just like, okay, this is... And I want to discuss this with you guys. So let me get some things up here right now. I'm going to... God damn it. Hold on. I should have had this set up earlier, but here we go. Gonna get this, because I want to discuss, and they introduced some concepts you saw in the trailer, chat, some things that are implied, but they don't explain at all, and it's just fucking weird to me. So let me go ahead and get this up. We're gonna get you up right here. All right. Because I wanna talk about some of this stuff. Okay, got that right there. Got the text. Better Cornfields movie, Signs, or Field of Dreams? I would say Field of Dreams is better. I'm not a big fan of the movie, but I think that movie's better than Signs. If you build it, they will come. All right. What's the twist? I'll tell you what the twist is in just a second. Let me go ahead and get this all set up. Give people time. Is there anything as stupid as the toast scene from Devil? Comically, no. But there is some dumb stuff in the movie. You need to know what the hell M. Night came up with to explain this shit. Sometimes he doesn't explain anything. That's the thing. There's a lack of explanation for certain things. There's a lack of explanation. There's no equivalent of Mark. I'll say this before we get into spoilers. There's no equivalent of Mark Wahlberg talking to a potted plant for 5 minutes. There's no equivalent of a guy talking about the benefits of hot dogs. Or a man that says cheese and crackers or anything like that, or the everything with the devil on the toast. Nothing that bad, but there is some dumb stuff. Brandon Madison, welcome to British Doctor. In this movie was the happy levels of bad. We'll talk about him. In just a second. Which is the buys the friends we met along the way. A lot of dead bodies. CDR Spot Grease salutations to you. Hope you're living long and prospering, good sir. No, welcome, chat. Okay, no, now, chat, now spoilers, okay? So I'm going to give you a few more seconds. I'm going to start talking about spoilers in this movie, all right? In old, spoiler icon is up there. You know what's about to happen here, chat. So if you need to leave, you can come back. Once I move away from this screen, no spoiler talk. It'll be over. So, as I said before, the whole premise of this movie is this beach, for whatever reason, unnaturally ages you very fast, chat. This and the reason for it, you want to know why the beach ages you unnaturally fast? I don't know. There's no explanation. They don't explain why the beach ages you unnaturally fast. It's because of the rock formation. They say it's like, oh, it's the rocks. It's magic rocks. Because where the magic rocks are, they create a gravitational force that ages you. That's it. That's all they say. It's just like, it's literally magic rocks that age you. That's all the explanation you get. And this healthcare company, this biomedical healthcare company that owns this hotel, they purposely seek out people that have various diseases or medical conditions, people who suffer from mental disorders, and they have them come to the island. They don't know that, they're just like, oh, you want a sweepstakes, you were chosen to come here, you get a discount, stay 3 days, enjoy yourself. And so they get these people, for example, the wife character of Gilbert Garcia Bernal, Vicky Creeps, she has like a benign tumor. And so, like, you have a tumor, you got to come here, boom. One guy has like pre-glaucoma. It's like he has a history of glaucoma. He probably get glaucoma later in his life, or hearing loss or some shit. One person has like multiple sclerosis, or his blood's not able to clot, or someone has like seizures. And they purposely seek out these people, get on the island, and they give them cocktails, which are like, as soon as the movie starts, here's a cocktail based on your survey, which has a drug in it that they test on you. And instead of spending years and multiple trials figuring out what works, they're able to test all these drugs within a span of a day, because the beach, the magic rocks, age you a full basically it's 70 years. They age you like 50 years in a day. I think you go 50 years in a day. That's what happens. And then they figure out like what worked and what didn't and stuff. And that's what happens. And so that's why you have like the kids are aging so fast, and why some people's like mental illnesses, they are exacerbated because they're spending the time on the island. They don't not getting medical help. That's what happens. Like the British doctor, like he has like Alzheimer's, and he suffers from I think like schizophrenia or like mild schizophrenia. He becomes increasingly crazy throughout the movie. He starts, I'm gonna start stabbing, and he just starts stabbing people for no reason. He's just, I'm gonna stab you. I don't like the way you look. Stabby stab. That's what he does. Now, there's a whole sequence in this movie which bothered me immensely in the comic, and I'll give M. Night this. He was like, well, I want to include this sequence, and the sequence in the comic, chat, involves the kids. They grow up, they're like about 15, 16. So they start like at 6 or 5 years old. So you have two characters in the movie. You have the Alex Wolff character, and he starts at 6 years old. And Alex Wolff, when he plays him, he's 15, 16, 17. And then you have this other character, chat, Kara, who is like this 5-year-old, 6-year-old girl, whatever. And they age up, and in the graphic novel, they somehow, even though they're like 6 and 5, they just know about orgies and sex, and they have sex, right? In the movie, these characters, with the mindset of a 5 and 6-year-old, chat, but in like 16, 17-year-old bodies or whatever, we see them in a tent, and they're like looking at each other, like they're laying down, and like they're stuffing their faces because they're like eating because of their and they explain it like, well, the reason why the kids are eating so much is because there's such an increase in mass. They need the fuel for their body. Metabolism's all haywire. But we see not Finn Wolfhard. We see Alex. We see the Alex Wolff character and the Eliza Scanlon character, and they're in the tent. And then they're looking at each other, and then it cuts because the parents are asking where they are. They walk out of the tent, and Eliza Scanlon is like 5 months pregnant. And so somehow these people with the mindset of a 5 and 6-year-old had sex, and she's pregnant. And there's like, we don't see it. Like, there's no explanation as to why, how they know about this. They just do it. And it's just really fucking weird and gross. And in the original graphic novel, it's just like, okay, that's just gross. Like the girl talking about orgies and shit. It's like, how do you know about all this stuff? Like you have this 6-year-old, and this is the big problem. This is where it gets really unintentionally funny and weird. It doesn't make any sense. Where you have these actors trying to portray 5 and 6-year-olds, but they just give up after a while. They're like, no, fuck it. We're just gonna talk like we are 16, 17, 25, 50. They just stop. And like this whole sequence, and you literally see this character get pregnant, go through 9 months in the span of like, I don't know, 20 minutes, and give birth, and then the baby dies. The baby dies because of neglect, because, it died of not enough attention, which can't happen. And it's just weird. But again, it's like, but how did these fucking kids know about sex and how to do it? It doesn't make, and they don't, and M. Night Shyamalan doesn't show it, doesn't explain it, and it's like a big like moment in the movie. It's like it's really disturbing, and the stuff that's implied, and it's like, what the fuck? And we just move on, like it's out of sight, out of mind, and it's just like, what, are we gonna spend any time with this at all? Like, no, ignore it, don't worry about it. And you're just kind of like, what the fuck? The comic was trying to elude their minds with aging as well, but it was weird because they still regret. That's the thing. They're not consistent. And that's the thing that's my big problem with this movie. Like, M. Night's not consistent with the way his characters act. Like, they don't say like their minds are aging. But even then, it's like, okay, your mind is aging, but how do you know about sex? How do you know about all these other terms you're talking about? Why are you talking about prom? How do you know about what that is? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And so, Chris, you just misunderstand how sexually advanced toddlers are in France. Vive l'Orge, is that a thing they do in France? They're all about that, huh? Well, it is a French graphic novel, right? And so I know a lot of people are, and it's kind of like just gross for me. But I'm like, all right. The blow wasn't as intense because I read the graphic novel and I was expecting that scene. I was very curious how M. Night Shyamalan was going to handle it, and he just chose not to handle it at all. I was like, all right, he's not gonna touch on it, and it just fucking happens. It's like, okay, and then there's other things like you have the wife of the British doctor, played by Rufus Sewell. He married like a young woman who suffers from like a calcium deficiency, and so as she ages, her body becomes all like super decrepit. She looks like Quasimodo. She looks like Igor by the end of the film. Igor chat, like from Frankenstein or the Hunchback of Notre Dame. She's like, don't look at me, don't look at me. And she goes fucking crazy, and her bones are all like grotesque. And she's literally like, hey, I'm ugly. You must all die. You mustn't see me. And she's like trying to kill people. And like, but her bone, like when she lifts a rock up, her bones are so malnourished, they literally snap. And so, but he heals instantly. So her arm's like, until she's like this mass, this fleshy mass, which is like, it's scary. But the fact that the woman's performance is so much, she's like, don't look at me. It becomes very unintentionally funny until she's this wriggling mass of CGI flesh and bones until she dies because her body's so deformed. So it's like, okay. And, oh yeah, the end of the movie. So spoilers for the end of the movie. Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead. Like the British doctor, he kills a few people or whatever. Black guy gets stabbed to death. He dies. So if you're a minority, in this movie, you ain't gonna make it out. Okay, sorry about that. But the last two survivors are the Alex Wolff character and the Thomasin McKenzie character, and they're about 50. They're about in their early to mid 50s. And the Alex Wolff character befriends this one little boy who earlier in the movie, who is very lonely, and he knows what's going on, and he tries to warn Alex Wolff by giving him coded messages. And so when they get to the beach, they notice like this coral reef, like out, like I don't know however many meters away, how many feet, it's like it's there. And Alex Wolff decodes this coded message from this little boy who's like the nephew to the manager of the place, who's the evil guy. And it says, my uncle doesn't like the coral reef. And Alex Wolff and McKenzie are like, well, that clearly is the way out. And so they go to the coral reef, and they go through it, and they almost drown, and they come out the other side, and then they go to they just walk on the beach until they meet a police officer. He's like, you're a cop, right? He goes, I am. And they tell him everything that happens. He's like, okay. And then they arrest everybody. And that's the end of the movie. And then they call their aunt, and the cop's like, so it was an awkward conversation. And they're like, well, how do you think our aunt's going to feel that, their 6 and 11-year-old niece and nephew are now 50-year-olds? It's a little awkward. And the movie ends. That's it. That's how it ends. That's the twist. But everyone else is either murdered or turns into a fleshy CGI bone monstrosity, or they die of old age. Thank you. Chris Harris, think about your I love that Thomas McKenzie played a young Jewish girl trying to start the... Oh, she was great in Jojo Rabbit. Ages into Embeth Davidtz, who played a Jewish woman trying to survive the Holocaust. Oh, shit, look at that. Consistency. Sean is, that's just sad. What the hell was this movie? It's just, listen. The source material was bad, and this movie, I'm like, is it better than the source material? I guess. I don't know. It's not good. That was a wet for everything. It was just like, it just happens. Like, the twist is the evil, the twist is the evil corporation is evil. And that it's magic rocks. Like, that's the twist. There's no, like they weren't like, oh, they weren't rubbed down. Like, maybe even better, maybe, if they, like, our drug ages you. Like, no, it's just fucking magic rocks. That's the twist. And a corporation is taking advantage of it. But it's for the right reasons. It's for the right reasons. Because they're like, well, these people are probably going to die anyway if we treat them. But we have a chance to save millions of other people. And so that's why we're exploiting them and doing this to them. Like, that's their reason. That's their like get out of jail free cards. Like, well, we did it for like, to save more, okay? The needs of the many, it was fucking Spock logic, chat. It's fucking Wrath of Khan. He said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, so fuck them people, okay? They're gonna die anyway. Boom. Let's make some money. That's what it is. Axel, many thanks for saving me from watching this. Oh, no, check, I would say watch it when it comes to streaming service. When it comes to whether it comes to HBO Max or Amazon or Netflix, check it out. But I don't think you need to see this in the theater. It's not worth it, chat. It's really not worth it. It's the magic rock, so we shouldn't. So shouldn't we mean that them leaving the beach means the aging magic revert? No, they're just, that's how it is. When you're aged, there's no you don't revert. No reversal. Not at all. Nothing. Because I really think the beach is aging everyone. They keep emphasizing lately. Guys, I think the beach is aging everybody. 5 minutes later, do you think the beach is aging us? Yes! Yes, it is! Stop reminding us, we know. Oh, Lord. This is where you're going to hate me. I give this a low matinee. Would have been higher if you get to cut the last 10 minutes. No, if you like it, you like it. I give it a low rental. I don't like the movie, but I think the fact I read the graphic novel like really softened the blow for me, because I'm like, I don't think the material is good at all, and I'm like, I think that the graphic novel is worse than the movie. I'll say that. I think it's, that just doesn't explain shit. Neither does the graphic novel really, but it's just like I already read something that I thought was bad, and I was like, well, I'm gonna see something that's bad, and I was like, okay, so it's what I expected. So maybe that's why I don't hate it like as much as other people. I don't like it. That's why I give it like a low rental. Koki, welcome to stream, but it's not good. It's not good. Good to see you, Koki. Hope you're doing well. Wait, was the beach? It's the rocks. It's magic rocks. There's this, like, the beach is surrounded by this huge fucking cliffside, and if you try to go back, because they do say, like, why don't they just leave the beach? Well, apparently, when you go through the crevasses in the rocks, like to get back to like where they were dropped off. It's like the bends. You remember how you like a scuba diver and you go down like really deep in the water, but then you have to come up, but you can't go all the way up because you'll get the bends and possibly die. It happens it's like that. It's the concept where the magic rocks, because it's of the time shift and the aging process, it's like you have the bends, so you can't go back. It causes you to black out and you got to be dragged out because you'll vomit and shit. That's what it is. And you'll poop your pants. That's the explanation where you can't leave. You get like magic rock bends. Listen, I'm trying to make sense of it too. GD Gumball, hope you're doing very well. Woo. Coded message, wear a condom where you fucking the beach, yo. And orgies are cray. Don't get your rocks. They mention orgies in the graphic novel. And a lot of orgy stuff. Mauricio, it was almost some of the bullshit for me because there were points where that got There's like gags in the movie, like the medical doctor who clearly has Alzheimer's and is like suffering like a mental illness. He's all about like, what's that movie with Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando? While like something really fucking terrifying is happening, and he's like, yeah, but to the matter at hand, what's that movie with Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando? Everyone's like, shut up, who cares? He's like, I'm gonna stab you. He starts stabbing. He just randomly starts stabbing people. He's like, I'm sorry I was stabbing you. I just ah! He starts doing it again. I actually like that character. He was funny. A magic plot bear. Indeed it is. Do you think he should do a drama with no twist ending, just characters, gross, simple story, nothing sci-fi? I don't think so. Because I think, like, if he did that, then he would still have the awkward, clunky dialogue and people not acting human. At least with the crazy shit in the movie, it distracts you to a certain extent from the really clunky dialogue and awkward. But not all. It's not. Again, I don't think the acting is as bad as it was in The Happening or The Last Airbender or Lady in the Water or anything like that. It's not great. Like, again, Gail Garcia Bernal and the actress who played his wife, I think were like, they were holding it down despite the material. Like, there's a good moment in the movie with them. Like, there's this very quiet moment. I was like, this is working for me, but yeah, it's not enough to save the movie and all. I don't want him to do a drama. Yeah, it's a invisible wall like in a video game. Pretty much, exactly. It goes, and you get derpy and you fall back down. And you just wake up again. And then the guy starts stabbing you. Yeah, I think I will save my money, thanks. But yeah, no, I would save your money. I would see something else. I feel like this movie would improve if they had to fight a Minotaur. That would be great. If there was like monsters and shit. I mean, they kind of do. Like the woman, like the Instagram model wife, she becomes a monster. She literally becomes a hunchback, like sea creature, like, don't look at me. Don't look at me. That's what she becomes. Hunchback, and she's all like deformed because she has like collagen injections in her face. And like plastic surgeries, like her cheekbones have been manipulated, and she has like certain things inserted in her face and her body. And because you need to upkeep those, like you can't just like, oh, they're gonna be there for like, no, you need to have multiple surgeries later in life to either remove them or to do more things with them. And the fact that she's aging unnaturally, she's just literally falling apart, and her face is all lopsided, and she's like, blah, and shit. But it's like funny because her performance is over the top. No, the graphic novel got straight up disturbing. It did. The graphic novel, that's what I'll say. Like, the graphic novel sex stuff is, I mean, it's offensive to me. Like, I'm like, I don't like this. Like, this is some fucked up shit. And M. Night decided his way of handling it was not handling it at all. Just like, I ain't saying what happened. I'm just like, I'm just gonna, and that's why he moves on from it so fast. I know he wanted to include it because of the pregnancy stuff, but at the same time, he's like, I just don't, after it's done, we're never gonna mention it again. We just move on, and it doesn't work. Like the whole concept is just fucking weird and disturbing. Shouldn't have been the movie anyway. Yeah, I might get somebody else to write your scripts. Yeah, agreed. Think it's gonna make money? I don't know. This weekend it's Old and Snake Eyes, and it looks like Snake Eyes is dead on arrival. People don't even know that movie is coming out. I don't think it's, what if he did comedy? I mean, he already is making comedies. He already is making comedies, PSA. Is this better or worse than Space Jam 2? I mean, I gave Space Jam 2 some old bullshit. I don't know. Like, none of them, none of these movies are good. I don't know why I rank. I know I gave those movies some old bullshit. This one, like, a low rental. Like, none of them are good. None of them are good. In my opinion. It sucked doing, but I see your point. Yeah. Brando, we already know what really aged him was Mephisto, Ralphisto. But still thinks a little good as she with his. I mean, I guess so. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit. Oh, Mouth of Tyler Perry, that would be fucking amazing. I would love to see that. No, it's the same problem, although I enjoy Tenet despite the problems I had with it. Oh, just being exposition heavy and like not explain the concept of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Every time M. Night tries to tell a joke in this movie, a clown commits die. What's the graphic novel called? Sandcastle. Graphic novel called Sandcastle. Knight's first film ever didn't have a twist. It's just the Rosie O'Donnell is a nun. The twist was more than 1,000 people saw it. After that, it was a success. The twist made his career in his ego. True. He was next Spielberg. Remember, Tournament Weekly chat, next Spielberg. Devin M. Night was more focused on not doing the twist so much. He'd be much better. I don't know. I don't think that's his. I don't think the twist is the problem. As I said before, I think his problem is he doesn't know how to write dialogue and how people act like humans. I mean, it sounds like so over the top what I'm saying, but it's that. Like, that's my biggest issue with this movie. It's just like these people don't act like people, and that's what really takes you out. You know. I mean, yeah, I think the movie's premise is ridiculous, but I think so much else that he's done his career. I think if you look at like something like Glass, I think like a thing that would have helped Glass is if those people acted like fucking people. You know. That's just me. Like, The Happening is interesting. It's like, okay, the environment is literally making you kill yourself, and it's fighting back against you. It's like, okay, that's interesting. Like, it's releasing a toxin in the air. How do you fight that? But what's so comedic about that movie is the performances of the actors, the dialogue they're given to say. Like, that's me. That's me. I want my lemon drink. Yeah, I see you eyeing my... Like, you have a piece of dialogue like, I see you eyeing my lemon drink. Wait, this is an adaptation like last year. Yeah. No, he's not good at adaptations. That's true. I think part of the problem is his big deal. I think that as well. This movie will get nominated for a Razzie Award to get crazy. I could see it. I can see it. I mean, people are gonna fucking freak out, and I think, you know, I get it over the 6-year-old pregnancy thing. People will be very mad about that. I'm like, I already knew it was coming. I was like, all right, here it is. And so the blow was already softened for me. And people in the audience were like, what the fuck? When it happened. People were even saying, what the fuck? Or they were laughing. Yeah. Oh. The Happening is so bad it loops around to being amazing. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it becomes a comedy. That movie has a turning point where it's really like the last third of that film when they go to the farm with the crazy lady, where it's like, this is amazing. This is so unintentionally funny that it becomes a comedy. And just weird. Like, that's the most interesting part of that film, that last third, where it's like, and I know that inspired The Visit and stuff, but it's like the fucking little wooden boy behind the wall in that secret room, and she's like, get out of my house. It's like, oh, so scary. You know how Corey feels about this movie? I have no idea. I don't think they've seen it yet. They're getting, I don't know if they got screenings for it. I don't know if they're, I don't know. I think they might do it. We are going to review the film on Sunday. I know that. That's the big movie review. I think maybe something else. I don't think we're doing The Green Knight. I think they're doing that on Tuesday or Wednesday. But I know that one of the big things we're doing on Sunday is Old. And so I kind of told you everything I'm going to say in the review, though, chat. But yeah, to wrap it up, as I said before, it's M. Night Shyamalan making the same mistakes he so often makes. Awkward, clunky dialogue, stilted acting. You know, a premise that is not thoroughly explained or explored enough to make it like either interesting, and you're just kind of left wanting or maybe mildly amused to a certain extent. But overall, it's just a disappointing experience. Not to the point where I'm like, fuck this movie, but it's not good, not a good film. It's like I said before, it's a little rental. Don't watch in theaters. Check it out later on VOD. I think that way, make sure you're not spending any money on it. That's what I'll say. Sean West, thank you, Chris. Love hearing your thoughts. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I know it's a little different than my typical, you know, scene by scene breakdowns, chat. Just kind of going off the cuff here, you know, get all my thoughts together. But I'm glad you liked it. I hope you liked the discussion. Fuck Glass, that movie was shit and did deserve an Unbreakable and Split. Gotcha. Yeah, no, Glass is terrible. Like, I think Glass is worse than this movie, personally, because it was like, Unbreakable's so good, and Split, I'm not like a big fan of. I'm like, it's fine. But Glass was oofa. Lately, mama, my big man PP feels funny. Go lay down in the tent, baby. Take a French shot. That's, yeah. Yes. Thanks to you and Corey. Every time I see the trailer, I think you guys going, Daddy. Anyway, that trailer for the new Wes Anderson movie looks cool. Oh, yeah. That looks good. I like the review. Thanks. Thank you. No, I'm glad you guys liked it. That's a shame. The premise could have been handled well by then. I don't know. I think, well, that's interesting. Like, you're aging unnaturally fast. I just think the source material was just, again, so bad that it was hard to do an adaptation. Like, there was a lot going against them already. I'll say that. But the idea of an aging unnaturally fast is an interesting one. That is a good body horror film. It just, so much about it just didn't work. There was a lot of inherent flaws already baked into the content itself. At least that's how I feel. Green Knight. I'm very looking forward to the Green Knight, chat. It looks great. I'm hoping that's good. I'm really hoping that's good, chat. Right there with it. It looks gorgeous. Looks gorgeous, chat. Speaking of cinematography, you see that movie? Woofa. Yeah. Imagine this premise done by like a Cronenberg. Yeah, 80s Cronenberg. That would have been really cool to see. Yeah. Was Harris a better filmmaker than? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. New Mortal Kombat, Battle of the Realms clips look awesome. Oh, I can't wait for that too. That's gonna be exciting. That's August, right? It's coming out soon. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, chat. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the review. I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna put some more coffee in my iced coffee, which has now become lukewarm kind of coffee. And then we're gonna come back. We're gonna do a watch party for Star Wars: The Bad Batch now, chat. It's only gonna be for like a half hour, 25 minutes, and then I'll be playing some Mass Effect 3 for a good portion of the stream, and then we'll do some Jackbox. But I gotta hydrate. Indeed, Eddie Berserker. So, chat, please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. So, you can still talk about spoilers while this is up. I'll leave this up here. You want to go back and forth. But then after that, chat, when we do in Star Wars: The Bad Batch, no more spoilers. Because I know some people are anticipating this movie. They do want to see it. Let them think about how. Let them come up with their own opinions of the film. So after that, no more spoilers. But until then, chat, entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Stick around.